Regular meeting, April 12th, 2022. Kathy, would you do roll call, please?
Councilmember Ingebrigtsen.
Here.
Councilmember Olson.
Here.
Councilmember Swedberg.
Here.
Councilmember Zabo.
Here.
Mayor Reinke.
Here. Please join me now in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, in front of us is the agenda for the evening, for this evening. Upon review, did any counselor want to make any adjustments or see any omissions? Or can I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Is the motion, is there a second?
Second.
Is the motion and a second? Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the agenda is approved as presented. First up then is approval of minutes. There's 3 sets. The first was the workshop from March 22nd. The second set was the regular meeting on March 22nd. Then we had the special workshop meeting on March 29. So for that workshop, councilors, upon review, were there any questions or changes you want to see to the March 22 meeting minutes? Could I have a motion then, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those meeting minutes are approved as presented. The second set deals with the regular meeting of the council on March 22. Upon review, any adjustments or corrections? Can I have a motion then, please?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those meeting minutes are approved as presented. Finally, we have the meeting minutes from the special workshop from the Oakdale City Council, March 29, 2022. Upon review, are there any adjustments or corrections? Can I have a motion then, please?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those meeting minutes are approved. Thank you. One of the more fun things that I get to do is to talk about and read proclamations. And proclamations are special documents that acknowledge special things going on in the nation or in our community. So this first one here that I want to read is the proclamation for Parkinson's awareness. And it goes, whereas Parkinson's disease is a chronic, progressive neurological disease and is the second most common neurodegenerative disease in the United States. And whereas Parkinson's disease is estimated to affect approximately 1 million people in the United States, and the prevalence will raise to 1.2 million by 2030. Whereas Parkinson's disease is the 14th leading cause of death in the United States, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And whereas it is estimated that the economic burden of Parkinson's disease is at least $52 billion annually, including direct and indirect costs, including treatment, Social Security payments, and lost income to patients and family members. Whereas research suggests that the cause of Parkinson's disease is a combination of genetic and environmental factors, but the exact cause and progression of the disease is still unknown. Whereas there's no objective test or biomarker for Parkinson's disease, and there's no cure or drug to slow or halt the progression of the disease. Whereas the symptoms of Parkinson's disease vary from person to person and can include tremors, slowness of movement and rigidity, difficulty with balance, swallowing, chewing, and speaking, cognitive impairment and dementia, mood disorders, and a variety of other non-motor symptoms. Whereas volunteers, researchers, caregivers, and medical professionals are working to improve the quality of life of persons living with Parkinson's disease and their families. And whereas increased research, education, and community support services, such as those provided by the American Parkinson's Disease Association, the Parkinson's Foundation, mHealth Fairview, and other organizations are needed to find more effective treatments and to provide access to quality care to those living with the disease today. Therefore, I, Paul Reinke, Mayor of Oakdale, Minnesota, do hereby proclaim the month of April in 2022 as Parkinson's Awareness Month. In witness thereof, I have hereby set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Oakdale to be affixed on this 12th day of April 22nd, or 2022. The other one that I want to read is for the autism awareness. So it's another proclamation. Whereas on March 4th, 2021, the Autism Society of America officially announced the shift in terminology from Autism Awareness Month to Autism Acceptance Month. And whereas April aims to celebrate and promote acceptance for the condition that occurs in 1 of every 54 children as of 2020 in the United States. And whereas autism is the fastest growing developmental disability in the world. And whereas autism is a complex developmental condition affecting the patient's ability to interact, communicate, and progress, and has not one but many subtypes. And whereas first held in the year 1972 by the Autism Society, Autism Acceptance Month emphasizes the need for public awareness to promote acceptance, celebrate the differences, and be more inclusive towards autistic individuals around us. And whereas with autism, diagnosis rates are increasing fast. We take these 30 days in April to celebrate the differences of, learn more about, and empower autistic individuals. Therefore, I, Paul Reinke, Mayor of Oakdale, Minnesota, do hereby proclaim the month of April in 2022 as Autism Acceptance Month. In witness thereof, I have hereby set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Oakdale to be affixed on this 12th day of April, 2022. Very cool. Next up is a time we call open forum. Open forum is a time for anybody that's in the audience that wants to comment on anything that's going on in the city, on the agenda or not on the agenda, to come up and please come to the podium, state your name and address, and then share your thoughts with us. It's our tradition and our policy that it should be no more than 3 minutes. And should it be something that somebody else has already said, you can also have the same amount of impact by just saying that you share the same thoughts as the person before you. So is there anybody in the audience that would like to comment?
Thank you, Mayor, allowing me to speak. My name is Mario Cucciarella. I'm the owner of Maplewood Development Company. We're a real estate development construction company located here in Minneapolis. As many of you know, I'm the developer of the Willowbrook project and still the owner of much of the land there. I have a couple of comments about this, just based on some recent developments that I've seen both at workshops and at city council meetings. Tells you something about my social life. I'm watching your council meetings. So. First of all, a little history on Willowbrook, since there's a few new faces here that I didn't see here 6 years ago when we first started the process of the Willowbrook development. Willowbrook was a 208-acre site that we purchased from 3M Company. For many years, that was slated to be a office and industrial, semi-industrial development, really. The city wanted something much different, and certainly during that process, which lasted nearly 3.5 years, we went through a real change in what the property was going to be used for, and frankly, a change in what any property in Oakdale was ever used for. Part of that process was a dedication of nearly half of the land for park and open space, something that frankly hasn't been done not only in Oakdale, but hasn't been done anywhere place else. And I think at the end of the day, what that really meant to us as the development team was that at a minimum, there was probably 150 lots that we weren't going to get in this project. And the trade-off in no small way, not just behind closed doors with staff, but really with you directly, was that much of that was going to be pushed into the multifamily area. And a lot of what got approved was anywhere from 700 to 900 to maybe 1,000 units of rental housing. My concern is that now we're hearing that there's some one-off changes perhaps coming in the comp plan, some zoning changes, some differences, in frankly, something that we rely on, and that is your comp plan. And part of the agreement we had with you was to rely on looking at that comp plan and saying to ourselves, okay, we're giving up a lot, but here's what we're getting in return. And not that there's any guarantees about what's going to be there. We understand that. But I think the process we went through that now is 6 years ago was meant to really create a different community And part of that is a deal we make with you in that regard. It's nothing short of that. We're just starting to come out of the ground after 6 years. And here we are, and we're finally got the players in place to really do something, frankly, that it doesn't exist in your community right now. I think we have some pretty high-end users here. They're coming to me now and saying, hey, what's going on? Some of the things we've committed to are changing now because of some of the changes you're thinking about making, changing some of your commercial designations to multifamily. And frankly, it's kind of like pulling the rug out from under us just when we're starting to go vertical with the project. You don't owe me anything. I've got 7 or 8 master plan communities going around the metro area, but I can tell you that this is not what happens to me in other communities. And I think we've made a commitment. We're going to follow through on that, but we'd like to think that you're going to follow through on it too and help us get to the finish line on this after the number of years and what we've invested in this. And frankly, maybe the last comment, what you've invested in it. You guys have a stake in this too with the rebuilding of 40th Street, with the building of the trails, with the commitment you've made to going to be able to maintain the parks. I can tell you that putting 900 to 1,000 units anywhere in the metro, and Mayor, you know this because you work in this business, that is a daunting task in any community. But certainly it's at the top of the list in the East Metro. This is not easy stuff to get done. So I'd like to respectfully ask you to re-examine that and look at what commitment we've made and look at the commitment you've made to the Willowbrook development and think hard about what that's going to mean because it is going to add a lot of years onto this if something undercuts what we're doing there right now. I'm here to certainly answer any questions. I want to be respectful of your time. I realize this is the open forum, so thank you for
Thank
the
you very
opportunity.
much. Is there anybody else that would like to comment or speak tonight? Okay, let's bring it back up front. And councilors, next up on the agenda is the consensus motions. And we have A through S. So councilors, do you want to pull any of these?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull item P.
Is there any others that you'd like to pull? Anybody? Could I have a motion then, please?
I'll make a motion to approve consensus motions A through O and Q, R, and S as presented.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Then the consensus motions are approved as presented. Councilmember Zabel, would you take the lead on P, item P?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So item P on the consensus agenda is a cooperative agreement between the City of Oakdale and Washington County for a trail project along Highway or County Road 14, Old Minnesota 5. The reason I'm pulling this is looking through the materials provided, there's some discrepancies and some missing information. And so I'm hoping we can table this, get that fixed and all pulled together so council can have a full understanding of the costs associated with this project. For context, this project was included, I believe, in the 2020 CIP originally. So a number of years ago, we allocated $26,000, and now we're seeing a projected cost of somewhere between $65,000 and $69,000. So, we understand costs always go up the later you wait on projects. But my concern here was the actual detail of those costs, of the city's share of the costs, were never provided to us. So in the RCA, there were a couple mentions to Exhibit B. Also in the actual agreement language that City Administrator Volkers sent us, there were also references to Exhibit B, but Exhibit B with those costs was missing. So I'd like to take a look at those. I'd also like to know what the difference between the amount given in the background paragraph at the top of $68,947 and the total estimated cost at the bottom of $65,397. There's about a $3,600 gap there. So I'm fully in support of this project. I just think we need to clean it up a little bit and get that Exhibit B for the City Council.
Thanks, Councilmember Zabel. I think one question I have on that is timing. Is this time sensitive? And if it's Community Development Director Gitzloff or City Administrator Volkers, is this time sensitive for tonight?
Mr. Mayor, City Council, I don't, I do now have the Exhibit B, which I will just now send. You're right, it absolutely was missing. It does have detailed costs in it, so that's what you're looking for. The cost, well, you didn't address the cost increase from 25 to 68 as much, but there are reasons for that with the increasing costs. So we have answers to your questions. However, I do think you do deserve time to look at it. So as far as I know, there isn't a timing thing. So I think it should be fine to table it and put it on the next agenda and try to answer your questions in between.
You know, my memory on this is a little fuzzy. Is this the one, did we receive, or did the county receive a grant on this project? Was this the one?
I don't think so. I don't recall a grant. I just know since it was coinciding with the signal replacement project, that there was some cost savings for the city since
To do it.
Yeah.
they were doing it at the same time.
Yeah, and maybe,
Yes.
and my memory's fuzzy, so I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember, but I support tabling it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
There's a motion, sounds like you're seconding
Yeah,
it.
sure, second.
Is there any discussion? So all in favor of tabling this until next meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Then this motion, consensus motion P, dealing with the trail creation, is going to be postponed or tabled until next meeting. Next up on the agenda is an area called we call it the advisory boards and commissions. And I'm just going to run through the meetings that were held, just for people who may be watching. All of us, counselors and myself, have assignments to various commissions as liaisons. So from the Economic Development Commission, there's no comments because there's no meeting. Same with the Environmental Management Commission, no comments because there's no meeting. Planning Commission did meet. Councilmember Swedberg is the liaison. Are there comments, Councilor?
Sure. There was two main items that were discussed and passed from the Planning Commission. One of them was the church along Stillwater Boulevard to Hamlet. You know, the parking issue. It went back to Canvas Health parking, but now they're going to not use a runner person. They're going to use their 18-passenger van to move people. And really, it may not be an issue anyway for a while because their total church is less than 650, and the parking spaces they currently have is 935. So that will also, so they're going to take a while to exceed that anyway. But it passed with additional 2 items were added, like to put a recordable item to use Canvas Health parking, because in case Canvas Health moves, what will happen to their ability to use that parking lot? So there was a couple of other things that it passed, but they wanted some additional items to be looked at. And some residents had some issues with off-street parking that need to be looked at. So we're going to get a city engineer involved to look at that. Okay? So that's one. And the other one was the Forefront Technology, the multifamily development area that the comp plan would need to be changed. And if so, then we'd also need to change our PUD, would have to be amended. And if approved by council, that would need to go to Met Council for approval to be changed. So that passed at that.
Okay, good.
That's
Anything
it.
else? Thank you. The other commission is the Parks and Recreation Commission, and there was no report because there was no meeting. And then the tree board also was that same boat. No report, no meeting. Next topic on the agenda is staff reports. I'm going to slide over to the city attorney, Mr. Thompson.
Mr.
You've been
Mayor.
AWOL
Yeah.
for the last couple of meetings.
Just
Welcome back.
one. That was the 5th Tuesday. That doesn't count. I keep my calendar marked for those for the whole year, when 5th Mondays and
Yeah.
Tuesdays are. Other than that, nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
Counselor, is there anything for Jim? Very good, thank you, Jim. Next up is the administrator's report, Ms. Volkers.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I don't have anything to report, but I'll stand for any questions if there are any.
Counselors, anything for Chris? Thank you, Chris. Council presentations. I think tonight I'm going to start down on my left with Councilmember Zabel.
Nothing
Anything
from
in your
me.
mind?
Nothing.
Councilmember Swedberg.
I just want to bring up that we're having the landscape revival this year, June 4th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Fire Station Number 1. That'll be a new location for us. It has to do with giving the opportunity to buy native plants. And we're having exhibitors back after COVID missing it for a couple years, so we're all excited for that. You really learn a lot from those exhibitors. And we also will have a food truck there. So look forward to seeing everyone there.
Very good, thank you. Councilmember Olson.
I guess I would just like to say that I'd like to remind everybody to please get your skin cancer checks regularly. It could save your life. It could save a loved one's life.
Thank you. Councilmember.
I have nothing.
And for me, I wanted to say we have a special holiday coming up, a traditional holiday. And so on behalf of us, wishing everybody a celebratory holiday, a happy Easter and Passover, and enjoy, be safe, and take care. Let's finish up with the summary of claims. So in front of us, we have the claim roster from March 19, 2022 through April 8th, 2022, amounting to a total of $1,030,952.78. Councilors, upon review, did you see anything that you wanted to question or pull? Could I have a motion then, please?
Motion to approve claims is presented.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Then the motion passes as presented. Thank you. Could I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Then this meeting is adjourned. Thank you and good night.